While doing research for every video I make, I usually come across tons of scary facts. Mostly, I wish I could really unsee them. However, I can't. And because I clearly hate all of you, I wanted to make a video talking about these off-the-wall creepy facts. These are in no particular order and come courtesy of Factinate.com, UnbelievableFacts.com, EmbalmsWorld.com, Cheeseburger.com, and Supernova.com. Please note, the facts are read verbatim, so enjoy. The banned trailer. When the movie trailer for The Exorcist was shown to the public in theaters, it was so scary that people very literally ran out of the room. Many people began vomiting. They decided to ban that version of the trailer because they didn't think anyone would go see the movie. The video is available to watch on YouTube. The nausea is probably due to the fact that it has a lot of flashing lights of demonic faces and very creepy music playing in the background. Flashing images can trigger epileptic seizures or migraines, which is probably why it made some of the people physically sick. Even for someone without those medical conditions, it's absolutely terrifying to watch in the dark. It rubs the lotion on his skin. Remember the creepy serial killer called Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs? Well, he is based on a real-life murderer named Gary Heidnik. In the 1980s, he lured prostitutes into the basement of his home in Philadelphia and kept them chained together in an underground pit. He would play loud heavy metal music while torturing, raping, and murdering these women until he was finally caught. He went to jail and was executed in 1999. Warrior's blood. In ancient Rome, some people believed that if they drank fresh, warm blood from a fallen gladiator, they would absorb their power. They also believed that drinking blood cured epilepsy. Poltergeist. During the filming of the 1982 horror movie, Poltergeist, many people were injured, and some even died. Nearly everyone who was connected to the making of this film suffered such a horrible fate that some believe the movie is cursed. The Boogeyman. In Uganda, children are kidnapped and used as child sacrifices by witch doctors. They pay off local police to be sure that they'll never get caught. More than a nightmare. In the 1970s and 80s, over 100 healthy people suddenly died in their sleep. Their families simply couldn't explain it. Wes Craven was inspired by this idea, and it helped them to create Nightmare on Elm Street, where the villain finds and kills people in their dreams. Almost brain dead. The guillotine was a machine used for executions, and it would chop people's heads off. Witnesses reported the eyes still moving on the heads moments before death. A modern-day experiment on rats confirmed that brains are still thinking several seconds after a head is removed from the body. Doomed for disfigurement. Joseph Merrick had a disorder that disfigured his entire body. He was nicknamed the Elephant Man and put in a freak show. The scientific name for his condition is Proteus syndrome, and people are actually still born with it today. Every individual person has a different form of the syndrome, and they do not all look exactly the same. The gene is not hereditary, so there is no telling when a child will be born with this, and there is no known way to prevent it from happening. The asteroid. In January of 2017, a 100-foot asteroid, nicknamed AG-13 passed by Earth. It was approximately the same distance as the moon, and just missed hitting our planet. Scientists only saw that it was coming roughly 24 hours before it would have hit Earth. The public did not know about it until it was over. This asteroid would not mean the planet would be destroyed, but it would injure and kill millions of people. So, if there was a massive asteroid ready to hit our planet, we wouldn't know until it happens. Serial killers on the loose. There are roughly 50 serial killers in the United States who still haven't been caught. The Haunted Island. Poveglia, Italy, is considered to be the most haunted island in the world. Thousands of people dying of the plague live there. So many bodies are buried, and 50% of the soil is made of human bones. Later on, Napoleon used the island to hide weapons. Then, it was used as a site of a mental hospital. And today, the island is strictly off limits to the entire public. Brain food. Have you ever wondered what people did before the invention of cups and bowls? In ancient England, people used the tops of hollowed human skulls to drink and eat out of. A bizarre nosebleed cure. During the 1600s to 1700s, when people died on the battlefield, their bodies often just laid there until they rotted away. Their skulls would start to grow moss called usnea. People believed that this moss contained the spiritual qualities of the fallen soldiers, so people would use it as medicine. They would ground it up and turn it into a powder, and later would snort it to cure nosebleeds. Don't judge a book by its cover. At Harvard University, there's a collection of books that are bound in human flesh. On an Indonesian island called Sulawesi, when a family member dies, they aren't buried and given a normal funeral. They are mummified using formaldehyde and water, which means the body won't putrefy and smell awful. They are kept around as part of the family. These corpses are even dressed up and given meals, almost like a life-size doll. They are called makula, which means a sick person. The body is kept in the house for months or even years until they have a proper funeral. Protein smoothies. In the 1600s, alchemists were practicing distillation. One of the things that some of them did was mash up brains and other organs from fallen soldiers, and then they proceeded to drink it, sort of like a smoothie. Then they left it to sit inside of horse manure for 6 months until it became liquid. Alchemists were always trying to figure out ways to live forever, so they probably thought this cannibalistic act might help them achieve that eternal life. Decorative bones. In the Czech Republic, there's a church called the Sedlec Ossuary that has decorations made entirely of human bones. This happened because there were too many people in the cemetery to bury everyone. The church leaders claimed that if their bones became part of the church, it only made them closer to God. The sinkhole. A man in Florida heard the screams of his brother from his bedroom. Upon reaching there, he saw the gory sight of his brother and the entire room being swallowed by a sinkhole. The body was never found, even after diligent rescue operations. You are Bloody Mary. There's an optical illusion known as the Troxler effect. It has been found by psychologists that people experience optical illusions of deformation of their faces after staring at oneself for 10 minutes in the mirror. Worse than a bee. The tarantula hawk wasp sting is so unbearable that people are advised to lie down and start screaming to prevent further injury if they have been stung by it. Lake of the Dead. A British forest guard in India made an alarming discovery in the year 1942. At the bottom of the lake lie the remains of 16,000 individuals. Ondine's Curse. There's a disease nicknamed Ondine's Curse which causes sufferers to die if they fall asleep. To sneeze or not to sneeze. If you sneeze hard enough, you can fracture a rib, but try to suppress a sneeze, and you might rupture a blood vessel in your head or neck. The Deadly Swan. When threatened, swans can be very aggressive. They have been known to capsize boats, attack humans on jet skis, and strangle dogs to death. Why you should go to college. In 1998, more fast food employees were murdered on the job than police officers. An average of 4 to 5 fast food workers are killed every month, usually during robberies. Man's best friend. Dogs enjoy squeaky toys because it triggers an ancestral instinct that reminds them of whimpering prey. A Haunted Heart. Sonny Graham received a heart transplant after donor Terry Cottle killed himself. Graham fell in love with Cottle's widow, married her, and eventually killed himself in the same way as his donor. The last person to be photographed with John Lennon was Mark David Chapman, who was also his killer. The iconic singer had no idea what the man was about to do next. The Unlucky Family. In the 19th century, husband and wife, George and Barry, died of tuberculosis, and their children, Mercy and Edwin, died soon after. Townspeople actually thought that Mercy was a vampire, so they disemboweled her and forced Edwin to drink her ashes. He died shortly thereafter. Serial killers. The country with the most amount of serial killers is the United States, with England coming second and Italy third. Fun fact. The average person walks by 36 murders in their lifetime. Why is that a fun fact, you may be asking? Well, because they didn't kill you.